Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. I'm your host, Kevin McKella. Thank you so much for listening today. Listen, if you are not subscribed to the podcast, please do so. That would be awesome, because here's the thing: you're going to get updates every time we put out a new episode. And number two, I think if we're not being updated on this stuff, right, sometimes it'll just kind of fall to the wayside. And the reason why I want to update you that I'm putting out new stuff is because I really think this will help. The whole concept behind this platform and this podcast that I'm trying to teach you is the things that have worked, that have changed my life. I mean, it's literally changed my life. All of these strategies and concepts that, many of them are really, actually, almost all of them are really things that I've kind of, crafted out of this noggin of mine. And I'm just really excited to share it with you. So please subscribe. And if you like what you hear so far, just leave me a review. I want to know, and that'll help more people find it. So listen, today, what this episode is going to be about is going to be a little bit more of the meat and potatoes of the concept of ritual design. And you've probably never ever heard of that, and that's totally okay, because it's my concept. And why this is so important is because, let's backtrack a little bit. If you're listening to this, you've probably heard the fact that morning routines are really a good idea, right? And you probably have heard everybody in the personal development and productivity space, say that, I need a morning routine. Let's take a look at what Tony Robbins' morning routine is, or Tim Ferriss's morning routine is. And that's great. Those guys are awesome. Those are just random guys that came to my mind. But here's one thing that I found over the years. I used to do, I was very serious with my morning routines. I still am. And what would happen would be this. I'd wake up. There was a time where I was waking up actually for about a couple of months, until it did not last, at 4:45 in the morning. And the reason why I woke up so early was because I was teaching at the time, and I wanted to do all the things still I was doing, but before like 7 o'clock in the morning. And it did not work. Partially because of my chronotype, partially because I just also wasn't in a really super happy place in my life at that point. So interestingly enough, I, even besides that, I wake up at 5:30, 6, 5:45, whatever it is. And I do this whole morning routine that consisted of working out and eating a healthy breakfast and doing breathing exercises, meditating, all this stuff. And then I would go on throughout my day, and all of that would fall to the wayside because I was either miserable, or I was too busy, or I was not, whatever I was doing, it didn't really matter. What was happening was that I was putting all this time and energy into a morning routine, and none of it was giving me effects that, was changing my life for the better, because after I just went through the motions, that was it, right? And I went on throughout my day, and nothing really happened. Obviously working out consistently helped a little bit. Eating right helped a little bit, but I just didn't really feel the effects. And I started realizing, well, that's probably because after I went through a day of being somewhat depressed, and there was a point where I was working as an adult at an appliance repair shop, being completely just berated by just some psychotic boss of mine. This didn't last for too long, but trust me, not a happy point in my life, right? And I would spend 8 hours there, and from 9 to 5, whatever that was, I don't know. And I come home. By the time I get home, it was about 6 o'clock. And what happened? I just spent most of my day miserable, being verbally abused. I'd come home, and I have to make dinner, and it was now 8 o'clock at night, and what happened? What am I going to do? What am I going to work on my business? What am I going to practice my instrument? What am I going to write a book? Like, nothing. It was over. So what I realized was that this morning routine concept has to actually follow you throughout the day. And that's where I came up with ritual design, because now what happens is that we need to do those same type of concepts. Like let's take a look at our morning routine holistically, right? We have things that help your body, things that help your mind, things that help your spirituality, or your spirit, if you will, your emotional state. And those things are great. Okay, now how can we take a look at something that we do like right when we get to the office, right? And this is what I like to call the before work routine or before school routine. So, if your morning routine is the AM routine, this is the BW routine, before work or after work, right? And this may, before work or before school. So this may be something as simple as, saying hello to everybody at the office, just kind of walking up and down, hey guys, what's up, whatever it is, right? And that's your routine. It may be a couple things like, okay, I do that, and I set up my workspace, and I whatever I do, I don't check email for the first hour, right? I do something super productive, like whatever my project is that I'm working on, right? That may be just your 3-step, BW routine, before work routine, and that sets you up in the office or at the classroom or wherever it is, that sets you up. Right? Now what happens when you get home? This is your after work routine, your AW routine, right? Or AS routine, whatever it is. Because what happens is that now we're changing the environment entirely. We're moving ourselves out of either a very productive space, or in my case, in certain times, a very, very depressing space, and we have to reset. This is a huge part of ritual design, because now we have to reset physically and emotionally, right? For me, again, coming back from the appliance repair shop, if I am in this situation and I'm not taking a moment to do a short little meditation, right, or do a short little breathing exercise, because that's all it took. If I sat and meditated for 5 minutes, did 10 deep breaths in and out, and drank a huge liter of water, I'd be set. I'd be ready to go. I'd be ready to take on my evening really, really productively and happy too. That's what's really important. And then finally, what is it you do right before you go to bed? This is your PM routine, right? And, again, for me, it's a 5-minute journal. There's an actual book called The 5-Minute Journal. I don't think I have it right here, but fantastic, right? A fantastic thing that expresses gratitude, and you kind of review the day really quickly. And if you haven't checked that out, I'll leave the link in the show notes. It's a really cool journal. That's part of my PM routine. Actually, I don't know if you can't really see it, but this is my whole whiteboard right here that I have everything set out for all 4 of my rituals. And, what's funny is that in the next few episodes, I'll get into more detail about what this really, how to really navigate through this, because there's going to be roadblocks. Not only that, you may not need to do all 4 rituals. You may only need to do 2, may need to do 3. Some of them may be longer than others. And more importantly is that you have to find out what is the sticking point, right? What is the clog, as I call it? What is the clog that clogs up the wheel, clogs up the pipes, and makes all of your routines and rituals harder to get done? Now, I'll give you a really good example, a funny example, because mine is so interesting. My clog, and this is the most important